broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seats and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your number one choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on NightComSat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
women have fought for a long time to be considered equal in society. The woman is so much more than just a human being. She has God's power to create a life, to cope with so much pain, and somehow always end up being the strongest in every room. The International Women's Day, celebrated on March 8th every year, is a celebration of a century of this struggle for economic, social, cultural, and political equality. Welcome to a special Women's Day edition of Daybreak Africa. I'm Aisha Salihu.
What defines a generation?
Climate justice! Right now!
Is it just about the year you were born? Or is there something more? We may have lived through different decades, different circumstances, different countries, but we all share in the global, everyday push for our rights, for justice, for a world that is equal. Perhaps what defines our generation isn't our age or our background, but the line in the sand that we have drawn. We take to the streets to speak out against discrimination, and we work tirelessly behind the scenes. We stand up for peace.
We are fed up with the war
and economic justice. We start with a statement and watch it become a movement. We have come a long way, but the fight isn't over, and our rights are still under assault. It is time to take action. Let us be the wake-up call the world needs.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you.
Be the first, the youngest, the best, and then make sure no one is left behind. When someone tries to silence you, raise up your voice.
Let us wage a global struggle.
Change everything, or change just one thing. As long as you do something, whether you're new to changing the world or have been in the fight for a long time.
Each knows exactly why we are here.
We are all together, united, for gender equality. And the future we create for women and girls is up to all of us.
We all know that this world would mean nothing without a woman or a girl. Yes, women are stronger than anyone can imagine. Let's celebrate their endless power today. Happy Women's Day, Africa. I am Priscilla Ajishala.
I was told in college that all I would ever be is a pretty face. I would never be driven enough to get where I am today.
One of my very first jobs, you told me that I was naive and I would not be successful, certainly not selling anything.
Before I came to Ultimate, I was told women are too weak to be great leaders.
I was told that women just don't get tech. They don't understand it.
I was told that I should leave the programming to the boys, and I should probably move on to something easier.
I was told that all the best designers were men. It's very hard to break the stereotype when it's just so pervasive.
People often underestimate women, especially when they're pregnant, and people would tell me all the time that you cannot have a career and a family.
I was told I couldn't be my authentic self and still be successful.
I was told you have to put your people second to run a successful business. It's not right. That drove me to be different.
That's one of the first things I loved about coming here, because I walked through the door and no one better than I.
It's not men versus women, it's all of us working together as people.
I think it's important for people to know that the more diverse your team is, the higher chance you have success.
We do really take care of each other, and it's very equal.
I think of myself as part of an amazing family.
You have to find a place where you can be yourself.
I like to be who I am. I'm not changing who I am because of my position.
When you allow people to be who they are, they flourish. As a person, as an individual, as a business. Magic.
And of course, the world woman, the world woman will never be complete without a man. So, on behalf of all the men folk, I say Happy Women's Day to our wives, mothers, sisters, daughters. You are simply amazing, and we'll celebrate you today and always. I am Charles Ibe.
Happy International Women's Day. 2020 is a massive year for gender equality, not just for women and girls, but for everyone whose lives will be changed by a fairer world that leaves no one behind. It's the year for what we call generation equality, where we mobilize to realize women's rights and to mark 25 years of implementing the Beijing Platform for Action. We don't have an equal world at the moment, and we are radically impatient for that change to come. It is an impatience that runs deep through all age groups, young and older, through all sectors of society. It's been brewing for years. But there are some positive changes to celebrate. For example, there has been a 38% drop in the ratio of maternal deaths since 2000. 131 countries have made legal reforms to support gender equality. Today, more than 3/4 of countries have domestic violence laws in place, and more girls are in school than ever before. But even where there is progress, our best is not good enough, and challenges remain for all countries. Girls are making no secret of their disappointment with the stewardship of our planet and the slow pace of change. For example, despite improved school enrollment, 1 in 10 young women today are still unable to read and write. This has to change in order for girls to play their vital role in technology and innovation. Another priority target for our impatience is the lack of women at the tables of power. 3/4 of all parliamentarians in the world are men. A proven solution is to introduce legally binding quotas for women's representation. 76 countries have already successfully done so. Now, we want to see more. The same goes for women at the peace table, where the vast majority of the negotiators and signatories are men. We know women's involvement brings more lasting peace agreements, but women continue to be marginalized. Women's groups and human rights defenders are ready and able to do more, but desperately need protection, funding, and resources. My last and greatest impatience is the unmoving economic inequality. Women and girls use triple the time and energy of boys and men to look after the household. That costs them equal opportunities in education, in the job market, and in earning power. It's a driver of repeating poverty. Young women raising families are 25% more likely than men to live in extreme poverty, affecting millions of young children. The solutions include good policies that promote more equality in childcare responsibility and that provide state support to families and those who work in the informal sector. So, we are impatient and we are also hopeful. We have the rapidly growing support of allies and partners. There is a driving wheel for change across generations and countries. We are locating issues that unite us and that offer opportunity to disrupt the status quo. We know how to accelerate action for equality, and we are together. Generation Equality.
If you're just joining in, this is Daybreak Africa, reaching you live on television Nigeria. And as we said earlier, today is a special Daybreak Africa edition where we're going to be celebrating the International Women's Day. And we have with us at the studio this morning, Mrs. Chika Ofor, the Chief Executive Officer of Vaccine Network for Disease Control. Good morning, ma.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here again.
Again. I was here last year.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, so as you know, March 8th every year has been set aside by the United Nations to celebrate the amazing nature of women.
Yes.
Just yesterday, it was International Women's Day, although we're talking about it today on the program. So I'd like to know, what do you really think about UN setting this day aside for women?
It's very important. This day, for me anyway, every day should be Women's Day. Trust me when I tell you that. It just is a place for us to say, you know, women have been cheated for a long time. And because of that, things are not working in the country. So we are reminding the world that include women in everything that you do so that things would work.
Right.
As simple as that.
And particularly this year is all about women and it's all about gender equality.
Yes.
And the theme this year is an equal world,
yes.
an enabled world.
Right.
Exactly.
Each for equal. Yes. The hashtag has been flying around each for equal and
yes.
we're all fighting for gender equality.
Yes.
And the fact is, as much as men might say that, you know, the world is a man's world and everything, we've seen women make very good stride in a lot of sectors, from sports to even fashion. There are some industries that you would say that women are beginning to really take over.
Yes.
So yes. And that is a fact.
Yeah.
And then when we're thinking about the theme for this year, what more can women do? The fact is, women have been doing so much, from feminism to speaking up about our rights and everything. So what more do you think we can do to propagate this equality, to stand up and to continually, you know, celebrate the achievements of women and the facts of what we have come to, the place that we are right now?
Because the truth of the matter is each for
Right.
equal.
Each for equal.
Exactly.
Each for equal.
The truth of the matter is, even in a house where you have a mother and a father, the children develop differently. And then when you train your children, male and female, that the boy and the girl are they are equal, you will discover that the children will be balanced. So what we're doing now, what we're going to do differently now, very simple.
Okay.
Start from the beginning. When you have male children and you have female children, make them realize that they are equal. That's one. Then secondly, women also cannot continually sit down, weak. They've already told you from when you were young that you're only good for the kitchen. And the other room. Don't believe it. Because the truth of the matter is that some women believe it. So that is the next level. The next level is we must show ourselves and prove that we are actually equal. Because the truth is, we are.
Yeah.
And guess what? Equality is beautiful.
Right.
So you're saying it starts from the home.
Yes,
and
it
the
starts
fact
from the
is,
home.
it's not just the fact that, you know, the home is like the bedrock of the
Yes,
society.
yes.
It's also the fact that a lot of times we take some little things from our parents and the way they live.
Yes.
And I've noticed that families where boys and girls are treated the same, they always end up with people that are more sensitive to women.
Exactly.
And people that generally, men that would come out and they would, you know, they would not respect women. They sort of come from homes where it's obvious. They're like, okay, girls do the chores, the boy, you get to play ball and just be yourself. And then,
exactly.
you know, and then you grow up feeling like, okay, this is what the world is. Let's just accept it for what it is. But I like the fact that nowadays men are very, 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 very upfront with equality as well. I think that I've seen, especially men that have daughters, they've come to a point where they're like, I cannot wake up every day to a world where my daughter is treated less than everybody else.
Exactly. Imagine the inheritance law. I'm Igbo. And 2 girls as children. And then you have 4 houses. The culture says you give everything to the men. What I cannot understand, is it that the women don't need? And then the children are brought up that way. To the extent that when the person is an adult, it's as if it's his right to take everything and leave nothing for the girl child. So the girl child herself starts to feel inadequate. You understand? So now is the time. We talk and talk and we can't stop talking. And that's the truth. We just can't stop talking. However, we have to start acting. You have to start acting equal. In an office, fight equally. You know, if you know in schools, do you know that in schools girls do better than boys? Really? But is it not weird that after doing so well in school, better than boys, and then you come out to the work environment, the men seem to take over the whole thing? It's kind of weird, don't you think? But guess what? Those days are gone forever. You are here interviewing me, you're working and you look beautiful. You're a woman and you should be proud of it. I think that's the first thing. Apart from the family, the next one is be proud of who you are. A family that has 4 girls, all the girls have to feel inadequate. I was brought up in a family with just 2 children for a very long time, until my mother died. 2 girls. And I always felt inadequate. Because though my father never showed it, but whenever we went to the village on holidays, that kind of thing, people would say, okay, God will give you brothers. You know, everybody started saying, maybe you have to do something in your father's house in the village. If anything happens, if you marry tomorrow, who will take your father's house? You know, it starts to make you feel inadequate. And that is so wrong. That is so very,
that just
very...
brings our attention back to the African tradition,
Yes.
the African culture, the African mentality.
So that's where the problem is, my dear.
But then I'm going to come from this angle. If you're saying charity begins at home,
Yes.
all of these has to start from the home front, right?
Yes, yes.
So what about, you know, we do have societal affiliations.
Yes.
Let's say from home we are already aware there is equality, right?
Yes.
But then we get to the society and then maybe for some others who are not aware, or they're also aware, but they get to the society because of the challenges they're faced with, they tend to think, okay, I think let the men folks just take it. From time immemorial, from Adam and Eve, it has always been the man before the woman. So I think, don't you think societal affiliation has something to do with actual equality in the society regarding the women's rights?
Yes, that is why 8th of March is special. Somebody woke up one day, United Nations woke up one day and said, you know what, enough is enough. Let's pick out this day to make people realize that women are also important. Let's pick out this day to tell the whole world that we celebrate our femininity. There's nothing wrong with having curves. It gets the job done. You know, let's just wake up one day, trying to tell the world, men and women, that women matter. You know, and then so that maybe in your workplace, it will tell that boss of yours who wants to give that position to a guy because he's a man and not give it to you, though you are more qualified. It will remind him that day that Do you know that you have women scientists? Do you know that you have women teachers? Do you know that you have female engineers? Do you know that women are doing great things? Do you know that we give birth to children? Guess what? Let me give you this. Do you know that in communities where you have women that are empowered, most of their children are immunized? Most of their children go to school. When a woman is in the mix, there's balance.
Empower a woman and you empower the world. I think that is
the balance. So the secret to empowering the country, the secret to sustainability of our successes in this country called Nigeria and in the world as a whole, take note, people, bring women, include women in the things that you do. Forever, if you do not include women, you cannot get to where you're going. Check history now. So it's even wise for the men to realize it early. Add more women parliamentarians so that there will be a balance.
Okay.
You know, once there's no balance in anything, it can't turn out well.
Okay, so this brings me to this question.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I attended an event where we're in commemoration of International Women's Day,
Yeah.
Purple Ball 2020. And then a man was at the event. He did ask the question. The men folks are willing and available to give support to the women. How come women do not support each other? So he was trying to say women do not support one another. We clamor for equality, want to be part of everything that's happening, yet we do not even support one another. Now my question, you just talked about parliament, women involved in parliament.
Yes.
And okay, now, so from what I gathered yesterday, they were trying to say, what about in an event where we have a woman coming out, but because I want to support women, I don't even consider if she's capable, if she has what she needs to, as if she's actually capable of occupying that particular position. So what do you think about it? Women supporting women, and if this woman coming out for this position, if she's actually capable, like if she can take charge. What do you think about it?
The truth of the matter is that in every area you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So also in women you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Men parliamentarians, they're not all good. Within the House of Parliament, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Why specifically pick and say we are supporting a woman and that the woman is not good enough? There are good women, there are women who can do the job. Just the same way as you have men that can do the job. And then you have women who cannot do the job the same way as you have men who cannot do the job. Why specifically come out to pick and say a woman cannot do the job, so therefore women are not supporting women? Women will support women that are capable. So as a woman, be capable.
Right.
Be capable. I cannot today say I want to be a parliamentarian. I have not done anything in my community. I have not supported any project in my community. Nobody knows what I have done. Look at me now, I'm 50 plus years and I have not done anything in any community that's around me. Tomorrow I want to contest. Should I contest? I should not contest.
Right.
Because I don't have that capacity. Before I say I want to be a politician, I should have been doing something in different communities from youth.
You don't just spring up.
You don't just spring up and say because you're a woman.
You think other women will support you?
Will support you? No, I won't do that. But however, when I notice a woman that is capable, I will support her to enter the position, to make her capable so that she can compete. That's the difference.
Okay.
And I just want to make something clear. We have capable women.
All right.
So don't tomorrow. Men do. Many men do. They will purposely, intentionally, deliberately go and put somebody, a square peg, in a round hole, and then so that they can give the excuse that the woman cannot do the job. It's not true. Women that can do the job are many. Look at me.
Okay, so thank you for that. We're still going to have to bring it back to the confront.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about women tearing each other down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the situation of a mother-in-law and then a wife. You know, it's cliche.
Yes,
for,
it's cliche.
For people to think because I just put to bed, I have to be up and doing, I have to do everything. We're not even considering depression, postpartum depression that the mother suffers. So now, the mother-in-law is there and she's saying, you're not the first to give birth. there's nothing new. This is not the first time someone is giving birth. I feel, don't you think, in that regard, women still tear each other down? Not just the mother-in-law now, even the husband, sister, and all the women in the man's house, they start to create this impression on the man's head, telling the man that the wife has to be up and doing, without the man even knowing that, okay, my wife could be clinically depressed or something because she had just gone through a process, something new. The baby is new, she herself, she's a new mother. So what do you think about all of this?
The truth of the matter is that, let's not forget that the mother-in-law you're talking about is from the past, from the last generation, that was probably brought up to be that men are on top, women should serve and serve and serve to death. You know, she also passed through that process of a mother-in-law coming and treating her shabbily, forcing her, because childbirth is looked upon as something that you don't even look forward to. The only thing you look forward to in childbirth is a child. The whole process is such a painful process, and you need to be spoiled at that period. And many women have died from either depression or too much pain, different kinds of things that they have passed through, you know. So when you have a mother-in-law that you know will give you stress, my advice to you is, please try to convince your husband, let her not come. Let her not come. Me, I have a mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is the greatest. She's lived with me for 13 years. And we are like two peas in a pod. First and foremost, she's educated. She's a doctor. So for that reason, she realizes the importance of childbirth. She understands postpartum depression. There's some information that she has based on her education. That when she sees me going through that, she already knows that this is a medical condition. That's one. Secondly, she's a confident woman. Because sometimes when the mother-in-law comes and sees the son treating the wife, she has to compete. Compete where there's no competition. Oh, she's giving the child, you are giving too much attention to your wife. Meanwhile, you forget one important thing. You are the mother of the man. I can never be the mother. I'm the wife. You can never be the wife. Right. So women have to understand it, you know. And I also believe that we should have support groups, you know, because a lot of challenges that when you have support groups, where in those support groups, your mother-in-law will go with you, all of you will go, and then you will hear what people are facing and find ways, you know, to solve some of these little problems that are no problems. You understand what I'm saying? There are really no problems, you know. It's just that psychologically, you know, a woman, a mother-in-law, for instance, may not be a very confident. That particular mother-in-law may have gone through so much stress and she's not a very confident person. She herself is passing through some challenges, you know. So that's where the problem comes. But when you have support groups, when you are confident in yourself as a woman, when you are empowered, it's very critical. Don't allow anybody tell you not to be empowered. You gotta get a job. You have to have something that you are doing. You understand? When you have those things around you, there's some things that your mother-in-law will do to you, you overlook. You know? Okay. You overlook. You know, so that's just it.
Okay, so I'm afraid we're running out of time. But then we want to hear final words in regards to the theme of this year, Each for Equal. What do you have to say to the women watching all over the world?
Each for equal. Right. I'm talking to all the women. You are very important. Without you being in the mix, there will be no success. We're talking to the parliamentarians, we're talking to the government. Intentionally, deliberately, include women in the things you are doing, so that you will succeed. Right. Each for equal. Okay. So generation equality.
It's each for equality.
Each for equality.
All right. Thank you so much. So we're talking to Mrs. Chika Ofor, the Chief Executive Officer of Vaccine Network for Disease Control.
Thank you so much for Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor. Right. I love talking to you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is still the special edition of Daybreak Africa. We're talking about women today, and it's all about women. But we'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.
Nigerian women in parliament has demanded 50% affirmative action in elective positions in the country. The women made this call at the roundtable discussions on improving women's participation in politics in the country. Chairman of the House Committee on Women in Parliament, Honorable Taiwo Oluga, said in 2015, 22 women lawmakers were sworn in at the Green Chamber, out of which 12 returned in 2019, which shows the sharp contrast of the 8th and 9th Assembly. She noted that over the years, low representation of women in politics has been at the front burner of national discourse, and it is up to the stakeholders to do the necessary lobbying, horse trading, and sensitization to convince party leaders and stakeholders to join the clamor for more women representation.
Women inclusion in politics in Nigeria has never exceeded 6.7%. In fact, it remains 6.7% till date. This is very sad. This is despite the fact that over 51% of women are involved in voting during elections in Nigeria, and women account for at least half of the nation's population. The need for a roundtable discussion like this, where the factors limiting women participation in politics will be discussed with a view of finding a permanent solution to the problem, is pertinent.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Whip of the House, Nkiruka Oyijocha, further challenged women to be go-getters and put their house together.
Women are mothers, we are wives, we are daughters. We should not throw out the norms, the basic rules, the house rule that your father laid when you were a toddler. Who said because you're a politician, you throw those ones to the dustbin? Hold those values, hold those virtues very strongly. That's why you look at any person and say, listen, and hear me very well. I am contesting. Why wouldn't I come?
About this matter, anything you give, anywhere you see a woman, I always say this, anywhere you see a woman, watch it, there'll be peace. Anywhere you see a woman, there'll be progress. You know, and anything you keep with a woman, consider it that it is safe.
Sandra Guana, TVN News.
What defines a generation?
Climate justice! Right now!
Is it just about the year you were born? Or is there something more? We may have lived through different decades, different circumstances, different countries, but we all share in the global, everyday push for our rights, for justice, for a world that is equal. Perhaps what defines our generation isn't our age or our background, but the line in the sand that we have drawn. We take to the streets to speak out against discrimination, and we work tirelessly behind the scenes. We stand up for peace.
We are fed up with the war
and economic justice. We start with a statement and watch it become a movement. We have come a long way, but the fight isn't over, and our rights are still under assault. It is time to take action. Let us be the wake-up call the world needs.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you.
Be the first, the youngest, the best, and then make sure no one is left behind. When someone tries to silence you, raise up your voice.
Let us wage a global struggle.
Change everything, or change just one thing. As long as you do something, whether you're new to changing the world or have been in the fight for a long time.
Each knows exactly why we are here.
We are all together, united, for gender equality. And the future we create for women and girls is up to all of us.
Happy International Women's Day. 2020 is a massive year for gender equality, not just for women and girls, but for everyone whose lives will be changed by a fairer world that leaves no one behind. It's the year for what we call generation equality, where we mobilize to realize women's rights and to mark 25 years of implementing the Beijing Platform for Action. We don't have an equal world at the moment, and we are radically impatient for that change to come. It is an impatience that runs deep through all age groups, young and older, through all sectors of society. It's been brewing for years. But there are some positive changes to celebrate. For example, there has been a 38% drop in the ratio of maternal deaths since 2000. 131 countries have made legal reforms to support gender equality. Today, more than 3/4 of countries have domestic violence laws in place, and more girls are in school than ever before. But even where there is progress, our best is not good enough, and challenges remain for all countries. Girls are making no secret of their disappointment with the stewardship of our planet and the slow pace of change. For example, despite improved school enrollment, 1 in 10 young women today are still unable to read and write. This has to change in order for girls to play their vital role in technology and innovation. Another priority target for our impatience is the lack of women at the tables of power. 3/4 of all parliamentarians in the world are men. A proven solution is to introduce legally binding quotas for women's representation. 76 countries have already successfully done so. Now, we want to see more. The same goes for women at the peace table, where the vast majority of the negotiators and signatories are men. We know women's involvement brings more lasting peace agreements, but women continue to be marginalized. Women's groups and human rights defenders are ready and able to do more, but desperately need protection, funding, and resources. My last and greatest impatience is the unmoving economic inequality. Women and girls use triple the time and energy of boys and men to look after the household. That costs them equal opportunities in education, in the job market, and in earning power. It's a driver of repeating poverty. Young women raising families are 25% more likely than men to live in extreme poverty, affecting millions of young children. The solutions include good policies that promote more equality in childcare responsibility and that provide state support to families and those who work in the informal sector. So, we are impatient and we are also hopeful. We have the rapidly growing support of allies and partners. There is a driving wheel for change across generations and countries. We are locating issues that unite us and that offer opportunity to disrupt the status quo. We know how to accelerate action for equality, and we are together. Generation Equality.
Many thanks for staying tuned. This is still Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. And earlier on, we're talking about the International Women's Day. We're still talking about it. We have another guest in here in the studio with us. She goes by the name Princess Ajibola. She's a human rights activist and also the president of CAUSA. Good morning, Ma.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be with you.
Okay, so Ma, there's been so much ado about International Women's Day. Well, how can you really react to this?
For me, every day is a Women's Day. Right. You know, that the United Nations chose a date, March 8th, to mark International Women's Day. For me, it's just protocol.
Okay.
Protocol. I believe that the woman is relevant every day of the year as long as she's alive on planet Earth. You know.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
So since women are alive every day, as long as she's on Earth here,
it's her day every day.
Right. So okay. So what are the pivotal issues? How do women promote matters relating to the society? What are the roles of women in society?
I like that question. First of all, we must understand ourselves as women. And the reason for our creation, for being created. Okay. The first role for a woman is a mother. Yes, motherhood, wife. You have to be a wife to be a mother, although there are women who have kids and out of wedlock. That's not to say there are no women, either by stroke of one omission or commission. But the primary role of a woman is to mother and mother well. Mother well. From the part of the world where I come from, if you train a child and the child turns out right, they say, oh, it's the father that owns the child.
Right.
But if the child turns otherwise, some for whatever reason, they say, it's the mother's child. Therefore, the mother, when I was growing up, my mother was at home. I'm not saying women should stay at home now, but she tended to us. She made sure we went to school at the right time and things, because our father was out there bringing the resources for her to manage to take care of us at home. But we find that as the system has evolved, women have become more engaged, and therefore the man is out, the woman is out, and there is a serious imbalance in the family that is having direct adverse effect on the children of the home. And that is why we have quite a number of kids that are misguided today. It's not because they want to be misguided. It's because there is nobody at home for them when they need someone at home. And usually it's the mother. So what happens? They have burning issues they want to talk about. And therefore, they have to look out for who? Total strangers outside. And those ones are there to make sure they lose track. And so I find that of recent, by some of the counseling sessions I have with some of these youths, that more often than not, the role of a woman in the house is gradually being eroded by some of the engagements or some of the things they do for a living to support the family, which by itself is okay. But you have to be able to strike a balance as a woman, as a mother, and as a wife. You can't let one department of your life to suffer because you want to also be a partner in the running of the home.
So
and
generally, women are getting more inclusion, from politics to sports to everything, like I said earlier. And I feel like at this point, I think women have come to a point where they're like, okay, there are no boundaries, we're breaking the boundaries, we're breaking the barriers. And a lot of women feel generally that, that stigma of being, in the kitchen and in the home is something they want to put behind them, you get? So I think sometimes when women are going forward, sometimes they tend to forget that being a woman and being, out there has to be balance. And then the fact is, you spoke about balance and you talked about consulting. So I'm sure you get a lot of these talks where women say, their perspective about their life and everything, what they are going through. And then sometimes they tend to blame everybody else for their problems.
Exactly.
Yes. And then, like, people always say women equality and equality. So what are we doing with all the equality we've gotten? How far have we gone?
So I'm going to have to ask this question. The theme for this year's celebration is each for equal, right?
Yes.
And now would like to know, although for the longest time we keep saying there are issues of gender inequalities, what do you really think are these issues of gender inequalities? And then do you think it's more on the women folk or it's general gender? Both
First
genders?
of all, cutting across board, women hardly want to agree with one another.
Okay.
There is a deep, and I'm going to explain this, a woman would rather want to lean towards a man, whereas a man will rather lean towards a fellow man.
Right.
Now, if you look at the political terrain, for example, I said something off the record. I said women have the capacity to identify and fish out women who are capable to run for political offices, to win election, but will they do such? The answer is no. Instead, a fellow woman will override a woman and put her money behind a man to support the man to gain access to that political office. So you begin to wonder, what is really the problem with women? You know, that's what I'm trying to put my finger on. Is it what? Is it envy? Is it, oh, I don't want her to be like me, or if she's there, and things like this. So it's a problem the women have. It's not a problem about gender inequality. It's about not being able to support one another. And it's a huge problem, because if I cannot support you, why will a man support you when he knows that we both can come together and make something work? And so when we're not able to do that, it becomes an advantage to the man and a disadvantage to the woman in question, or the women. And that is the problem we really have in Nigeria. There are women who can really, really, really support fellow women to attain whatever political position that is needful for there to be impact. But most of them are not willing. And that is the key issue. Is it gender equality? Nobody will give you anything on the platter of gold. You have to either earn it, or struggle for it, or you fight for it. And if you don't have the resources to fight or to struggle for it or to earn it, by all means, don't think somebody's coming to knock on your door and say, hey, come out, come and take. Even in the home front, nobody tells you to come and take. You go out and say, I deserve this, and you work towards getting what it is that you get.
Okay, but do you also think, I know you've stated that the gender inequality we're facing with regards to women is more of women not supporting
women. It's an internal thing.
Internal
Yes,
thing.
yes.
So what about the male folks? What are the gender inequalities that they're faced with?
Men?
Right.
Men have have you not heard that it's a man's world? Have you not heard? Right. And it still is. It's just that we come out and we talk and it's okay, just keep them quiet. Give them little something. When so much can come, and you shout, they say, oh, just shut them up, take. Because you see, if there's no unity, one, and the unity of purpose, you will always be estranged from whatever it is you think you can accomplish for the system. So we have to put our house in order first of all. The women we have to come together and say, okay, fine, I think it's about time for us to begin to do things by ourselves for us. And we can do it. That is the problem. We have to now start saying, yes, women, who is there? Yes, Aisha is capable. She is capable. Let us put our support, our resources. She doesn't have to be related to me, but can she get the job done? And then we all go behind that one person, because that's what the men folk do. So when you talk about gender inequality, how do the men perceive it? Of course, it's to their advantage. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is to their advantage as long as we cannot get ourselves together. And each time we talk about it, we keep talking about it. It's talk. Talk is cheap. But what are we doing about it? What action can we put? Whatever we say, we have to back it up with action.
There's been so much talk about equality lately.
Yes, gender inequality.
To an extent, women are becoming entitled. Or becoming entitled in a way that I feel like if you go into offices and when you meet some sort of women, when you are speaking to somebody and the woman is like, okay, I worked hard to get to this position.
Yes.
And then eventually there's another woman there that is, trying to get a job. Do you know women actually favor men over women?
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand? But the men folk is not like that. For the men, it's not like that. It's not like that. And you see, if it's something that should worry all of us. We are not really friendly to one another. We're not really. Women don't really want to see a fellow woman, like her. But a man will groom somebody else, to take over. You understand? He sees you, he says, okay, fine, you can do it, yes, come. But the woman will so antagonize you, and you begin to wonder. As a matter of fact, if you go to some offices and you see secretaries, and you fill a form, you say, yes, what is it? Oga is not in the office.
Right.
But Oga is there. So you begin to wonder. We have a problem. And then, you see, when we talk about women, let us be talking about the problem we have. The internal problem, yes, that I have to see you, appreciate you, and accept you for who you are and what you are, and believe that, yes, you can do it. That is the problem women have.
So, Ma, according to what you do, you're a human rights activist. So what are the challenges that you face generally, especially when it comes to gender, in your field and in your work?
Okay, challenges is the challenges we face from time to time is getting the word out, and not that the word is not accomplishing what we get it out for. We will keep talking. There are certain things that are not so right with the society. For example, a woman is raped and she has no right to talk about it, because if you talk about it, you have exposed yourself and you begin to face stigmatization. So those are the kind of things we're working on. A woman or a girl child in the university, this has been in the news, and then some lecturer somewhere says, okay, for me to pass you, I must sleep with you. It is a problem.
Right.
So we take it up and it's, okay, what are you people talking about? It's everywhere. So it's everywhere. Does it not make it right? It doesn't make it right. And that also has an adverse effect on some of these girls. They are seething inside, and things are happening to them. They can't talk about it because of the stigmatization out there. Or if I talk about it, people say, what is it? Are you the first? No, I'm not the first. But should I accept it? The answer is no.
Okay.
Those are the challenges we face.
Okay, so I'm going to come from the political angle here.
Yes.
We're talking about women in politics, more involvement of women in politics.
Yes.
Now, there is a lingering issue of 35% affirmative action for women involvement in politics.
Yes.
Do you think this is really possible in Nigeria?
It is more than possible. Okay, but like I mentioned earlier, we should not wait for the men to say, come and take it.
Okay.
Because nobody will tell you to come and take it. Because the other 15%, is being occupied by men, isn't it? The last I heard, they were pushing for 50%. So in the National Assembly, if you have 109 senators, there should be equal, maybe 150 something or whatever.
Right.
Okay, right. 45, right? 45, or 47. Okay, so the men who are already there, they will say, okay, let me step down, so you take over? The answer is no. You have to earn it. We have to identify women across board who can get the job done and rally around them and support them. And there are women in this country who have resources that can support fellow women. The question is, why are they not doing it? Right. That is the problem.
Okay, so I think there's so much. We cannot overemphasize these issues. We can't.
No.
But for the sake of the fact that we do not have enough time, what are your final words to women out there in line with the celebration of International Women's Day?
Okay, it's not my final word, but my word to them all the time is they should have more time and spend more time with their children. We have a lot of children who are troubled these days. And in time past, when I was growing up, we referenced our parents, but now parents are beginning to reference their children. There should be a balance. Find time to talk to your ward. Find out, children want to talk, so be available to listen. And by doing that, 75% of the problem they're going through will be solved. They only want you to listen. And then along the line, you begin to engage them. What is it? What is going on with you? You find that in most homes, children want to talk and the father says, I'm very busy. Mother says, I'm tired. And then they get into trouble. And then they begin to run helter-skelter. They begin to cry, especially the mothers. Oh, what have I done? What have you not done? You don't have time to listen to the child. So my word all the time is mothers should find time out of their busy schedule to listen to their children.
I'm sure the women out there all over the world watching us right now have taken one or two things from what you've just said. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Aisha.
Well, we've been talking to Princess Ajibola. She is a human rights activist and also the president of Council Group. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is still Daybreak Africa, and Africa, as always, we'll have to talk about how amazing Africa is. So stay with us. In this exciting episode, African Slam Journal travels miles away from Nairobi to Chulu Hills to feature the Maasai community and their rich culture. Maasai are well known for their tall stature, traditional houses, red clothing signature, pastoralism, and athletic style of dancing. Despite all this, there is one thing most people tend to forget about them. Maasai's distinctive culture, dress style, and strategic territory along the game parks have made them one of East Africa's most internationally famous tourist attractions. Over the years, Maasai women have managed to hold on to their old age customs of wearing beautiful ornaments.
Naitwa Dennis Abraham. Na shanga tunadumisha mila yetu ya Kimasai. Tunavaa shingoni na miguuni na mikononi. Na hii ya shingoni mwanaume havai. Na ya masikioni mwanaume havai. Lakini ya miguuni anavaa. Hii ya shingoni inaonyesha mimi ni mama wa Kimasai. Na ya miguuni anavaa mwanaume. Kuonesha kwamba na yeye ni murani wa Kimasai.
So one might ask, when is the ideal age to start wearing these ornaments? Where do they get their beads? How long can one take to make his or her ornaments?
Unaweza tu kuvaa kuanzia umekuwa mama, hata kama wewe ni mdogo kizaa mtoto wako utaweza tu kumwekea mikononi ili tu wewe ni Masai.
This is the real beauty of a Maasai lady. Today, typically Maasai dress consists of red sheets wrapped around the body and loads of beaded jewelries placed around the neck and arms. And what about their dressing code?
Yaani ndio mila zetu tunajifunga hivi. Msichana havai nguo nyingi wa Kimasai. Msichana ataweza kavaa nguo moja kwa maana yeye ni msichana. Au ataweza kavaa nguo mbili. Lakini wewe mama hauruhusiwi wewe unajionesha lazima uvae nguo za heshima.
On their pastoralism life, they are guided by a strong belief that God created cattle especially for them and that they are the sole custodians of all the cattle on earth. Their cattle meet all of the Maasai's needs for food. They eat the meat, drink the milk, and occasionally drink the blood.
This is Television Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour,
Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seat and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on Nightcomsat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
Your body bang, bang, your body bang, 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 your body bang, bang, your body bang. Fire, fire. And I gave us when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl when you take a selfie. When you take a photo, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend it low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah, 50% discount. Bougie down to Television Nigerian with world-class equipment and a badass expert crew.
Oga, face your camera now. Shh. Continue.
Where was I? Everything extra.
Carolina, you bada.
Hurry up.
I know say you know this thing you did do, my girl, say you know. Your body is big and I know say you know.
Well, it's still Daybreak Africa on Television Nigerian, and for the longest time we've been talking about International Women's Day, but at this point we'd like to move a little bit away from that. And today we have a guest in the studio. He goes by the name of Mr. Akinlami Temiwoluwa. He's a digital marketer, and generally he's a youth of Nigeria. So today our discussion will be centered mostly on what he does for a living. How are you doing? Welcome to the
Good morning.
studio.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Morning.
I'm very fine, thank you.
Fine. You're looking good.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank
At least somebody give us a compliment. Okay, so you're a digital marketer,
Yes.
and your field and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
In life, every Nigerian youths have dreams and potentials. You understand? So you have to work towards your dreams and potential. Ever since I like business, more of like being an entrepreneur. You understand? So my dream was to be a digital marketer, help businesses, promote businesses, and all that. So that's just what brought me into the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally, what has your experiences been? Because generally, we're in a world where right now everybody's moving towards social media.
Yeah.
So yes, have you been able to grow your brand? Are you earning as much from doing your job?
You have said it all. You have said it all. Like this era we're in right now is an era of digital marketing. Everything will soon go digital. Everything will soon go. It's going to be an IT world very soon. Let's take for likes of Canada, USA. You see almost everything online. So I know we're also a developing country, but soon enough we're getting there. So I definitely want to be among the first set of people who will take part in this digital marketing age and promote digital marketing.
Okay, so has it been lucrative? Because the fact is, you might go into something, but have you been earning from
Like
it?
I would
How
say,
well do you earn from
like
it?
I would say, Rome was not built in a day. You understand? But you have to keep pushing. Nothing is actually easy. You understand? So we have to keep pushing. It hasn't been easy, but we'll keep trying. But it's a very lucrative business, a very nice business. You're going to, make money from it. I won't lie to you, but I've been making money from it. But I just believe I'll get to my dream someday because everybody knows what is expecting and what will be enough for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a digital marketer that you are, what are the perks of this job? What are the challenges you're faced with daily? What are the issues you have to deal with? Because you said you're making money, you've not even said anything bad about digital marketing. So let us know, for those who are eyeing that digital marketing business.
It also involves capital. I'll put it that way. It involves capital, it involves dedication, it takes time. Like I said, Nigeria as a country, your environment, before you go into any business, you have to look at your environment. Not everybody is digitally inclined. So, I'm just hoping that soon enough, our generation, as we are going forward, definitely people will start becoming digitally inclined, and from there to make the business easier for us, because we are dealing everything we are dealing is online. You understand? To promote business online, promote stuff online. That's just it.
Okay, so we're speaking about digital marketing, and like every field, is there any kind of professional training? Because I don't think you can just jump into being a digital marketer.
Right.
So what kind of training do you go through? Is there like some kind of online training,
certification or something or
whatever?
There are a lot of online training, online courses. Let's take for instance, I myself, I went through a private online training actually, and I paid a huge sum of money because when something is good, you have to pay the price. So you can get your training on. There are a lot of online training on digital marketing, but I will advise individuals to go for private training actually, not online trainings. You understand?
So
because you can get more experience from the person training you than just doing it online.
Okay, so according to what you said a lot of people
That is
charge
why.
money. So even
That's why I myself, I'm setting up a digital marketing agency called Temitech. I will be developing business and promoting businesses, thereby giving youths the opportunity for more, like employing youths, give them employment opportunities through my agency.
Okay, so that it doesn't look as if we've just been on the surface and we don't even really know what the digital marketing is about. You talked about you're working on having an agency of your own.
Yeah.
So what's this digital marketing about? Because for the longest time, some people only know marketing as sales, maybe one-on-one, personal. There has to be physical presence. But digital now, we're bringing it down to the internet. So what's this whole digital marketing about? With regard to your
digital marketing is about creating an online awareness of whatever business you're into. What I mean by online awareness, in the sense that, like I said, this world is going digital. We have a lot of platforms. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagrams. So the ability for you to develop your business is through such platforms like Facebook. I believe when you're going through your Facebook online, you see some businesses sponsored ads, some business like they're advertising their products online, and so some people like, I'm interested in the product, and some people don't know how come. They just believe that you just saw it on Facebook. But through this digital marketing program I'm trying to create, you understand, I will develop individuals, know how to develop their business online, not just about just getting a shop and putting your stuff in there. No, you might be in your home and making good money, making deliveries and all that. So digital marketing, in a nutshell, creates social media awareness of whatever businesses you're going into.
Okay, so the brand of your business, does it have anything to do with digital marketing? Because some businesses do not have proper branding. Yeah. So how do you digitally marketize that kind of business?
My brand of my business is basically on digital marketing and nothing else. In the sense that we assist individuals, like all these mostly upcoming companies, those companies, those baby companies, let me put that way, upcoming companies to develop their business and business online and create an online awareness for them. You understand? That's just it.
Okay, that's great. I think a lot of people have been enlightened. I mean, digital marketing is definitely vast, and now you've told us that you could actually go out and do courses and so thank you very much for coming on the program. It's the Daybreak Africa. Thank you so much. It was so nice having you. Aisha, we cannot just dwell on this one. Moving on, so much more lined up on the show today.
We definitely have to move on.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to talk about the news headlines, what's making the rounds in Nigeria today. But before then, we'll have to still talk about entrepreneurship and, well, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Television Nigeria, the home of movies, documentaries, music, birthday parties, entertainment, events, and many more. You can reach us at Television House opposite White House Mansion, Guzape area, Abuja, or visit us at www.tvn.com or call us on 080-9153-5054. Television Nigeria, the #1 choice of the whole world.
Well, we're still talking about women today. It's a special edition on Daybreak Africa. And now we're going to have to talk about a woman who's doing greatly in a man's world. This is a woman who's a woman mechanic. Stay with us.
Auto mechanic is one gender-sensitive profession that has for a long time been identified with the men folks, primarily for its more physical nature and conditions of the work, which marks it out as risky for the female folks. But in recent times, women are beginning to find it attractive enough to make a career out of the profession. Mrs. Priscilla Nika is one among the few women who have found a career in auto mechanics and shares her experience on what led her into making a career out of a profession many of her gender won't touch with a 10-foot plow.
Anyway, right from time I like being a dentist.
Okay.
So after my school, I wanted to be an aeronautic engineer, but whereby finance cannot carry me up to that, I decided to join automobile side. So, and since I'm into the business, I'm not regretting it. I'm happy. I'm happy doing it. The achievement there is much because I'm alive today, healthy and happy. Being a woman now, you know how the thing will look like. After work, you go to the house, do the housework. By the end of it, you will still come back again to still do the work. So I'm used to it. I don't have any problem with it.
She pointed out some challenges she faced as a female and advised women and youth to take up careers in auto mechanic.
The main challenge in this work here for me is not having permanent workshop. So this makeshift workshop is affecting me seriously. It's affecting me, but I don't know what to do about it. Because I've tried right from time to see if I can achieve one, but I know by God's grace, if I can have a permanent workshop, I will set it up in a standard form, whereby youth, both girls and boys, will be able to learn. You know, I was trained by the NDE, National Directorate of Employment. So I have that in mind to see if I can empower youth, help them to grow and stand on their own. The ones that can reach me, I do tell them. Because if you are less busy or if you are idle, there are so many temptations that will come your way as a woman. But if you are occupied by a trade, I don't think that you have any temptation. So many of them, ladies, they do come anyway. They do come, but along the way they will drop.
Zoeira Hamza, TVN News.
It's a day of celebration for these women in Kosache, an area outside Eldoret in western Kenya. The group, most of them single mothers, have proved themselves successful entrepreneurs in whom people across the world are willing to invest. For Ruth Kipnyatich, a mother of two and one of the founders of the group, the success is especially sweet. For less than 4 years ago, she believed making and selling illegally brewed alcohol, a trade she loathed, was the only way to make ends meet.
Kuchemusha ni ngumu. Kwa vile nilipokuwa nachemusha kweli pombe.
Selling illegal brew was a very hard life. It got to the point where I was selling it in my house. People used to come here and drink.
Wanaume wanajua kwanza.
Men knew I wasn't strong. They would drink the brew and go off without paying. Others would refuse to get out of my house because they knew I was single. They'd sit there and say they would be my husband for the night. That was what made me realize I had to give up selling illegal brew.
Ruth's solution was to join forces with other single mums in the area to pool resources and cash. Each month, their meetings would end with a song, and each woman donating as much as she could afford to a joint fund. The total amount was then handed over to one of the members to help her set up a small business. The women's first attempts at commerce failed, but they quickly learned from their mistakes. Local business management student Andrew Tidwell has been on board to help from the outset.
We always share our experiences. If there is a member who was facing some difficulty in the mid of the week, so that's the time to share, and all of us will give a solution, we'll try to solve and sort each other out.
By decorating and selling gourds, Ruth slowly built up a trade that could support herself and her family. Other women in the group were equally successful baking cakes or selling eggs. But the group had bigger ambitions. They dreamt of owning a dairy herd so as to ensure a financially secure future. By this time, they were in contact with leader development consultant David Bernard Stevens, who posted information about their achievements on the internet.
Some people around the world heard about the dream. More importantly, they heard about what they had done, and they said, these women have already proven they can do it. Let's give them a jump start so that they can start their herd. We'll help them start the herd, and they'll grow it from there. And that's what happened. People from Australia to the UK to Ireland to all across the United States each donated small bits, and it was enough to buy 3 cows and some of the building materials, and the women then did all the work.
The work included planting, ploughing and fencing land, as well as taking lessons in dairy herd management. The 3 cows were handed over to the women at this ceremony earlier this month. Through reinvestment, the group hopes the herd will grow to 10 cows within 2 years. For Ruth, the achievements of the last few years have brought huge benefits. She can now afford to educate her 9-year-old daughter. It's an opportunity her son, now 15, never had.
Things are better now. Our children go to school. And when my daughter Judith comes home from school, there's food on the table. Previously, I had no time to cook for her. There may have been flour in the house, but I had no time to prepare food if customers were around.
While the women are all too aware there's still hard work ahead, for now they feel they've got something to sing about.
Africa is indeed amazing. I saw the Maasai women of Kenya.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
And then the other lady, the other woman, that's a woman mechanic.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day.
How do you pull it?
Exactly. It must be a lot, you know. I'm sure she'll be getting some kind of, you know, bad feedback from other male mechanics. Like, you want to go with woman, do you? You know, they always do that. They be like, now woman, you know. But I like the fact that she's breaking her boundaries and she's, you know, doing this job that only men
you go to some
have been known
cities
to
and
for
then you
longest
see
time.
women riding cars, taxis, and
Yeah,
buses.
literally, I saw a keke lady recently and I was astonished. I was blown away.
Women are getting there.
Exactly.
The strong force is there.
Exactly.
So we cannot overemphasize the whole coronavirus outbreak in the country and also in some parts of Africa and even all over the world. We're still recording death cases. I was watching the news on Sunday and we have recorded over 3,000 deaths so far. And then I think in Italy about 1 million people are under quarantine already. And then so this whole coronavirus thing, it keeps spreading, I'm afraid. And then there are some unconfirmed cases, although just the only confirmed case in Nigeria is that Italian man, the first in. But we still have about some unconfirmed cases, news making the rounds regarding this coronavirus thing. But then, you know, as Nigerians, we always have a way of making humor out of things with regards to getting information you get. So, Street Cred is up next, where TVN goes to the street to ask average Nigerians on the street, what do they really feel if their partners or their brothers or sisters is infected by the coronavirus? Stay with us.
No matter what happens, it's just to always look for solution. It's contagious, but you have to at least, stay away.
If we get them, even though I know say you get that thing, I no go close to you. That place, I no go even near them. Even though an angel come, you get cholera virus from heaven come. I no go near that place.
He will even want me, he will be happy if I leave him. Because he want me to leave.
Have you heard of coronavirus?
Yes.
Now, if someone you know, your close friend, your boyfriend, your sister or your brother is infected, what will you do?
I'll just isolate myself from that person because I know it's easily contactable, right? So I just isolate myself from the person.
So if it's your brother or your boyfriend, what will you do?
The whole family cannot die, so the best is to isolate myself from that person. If I cannot get a cure for it, I will isolate myself.
You leave the house you leave the house?
Sure.
Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
You have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
So you mean you leave your boyfriend because of the virus?
Yes. He will even want me, he will be happy if I leave him. Because he want me to leave.
What if your sister?
The question is hard. It's hard to answer here because I love my sister so much.
So what will you do? If your sister is infected?
I will stay with her. I will look for a way out to solve the problem for her. I will take her to the hospital. If there is a cure, fine. But if there is no cure, I'll just die with her.
Peradventure, your friend, your partner, your girlfriend, or child is infected with coronavirus, what will you do at that moment?
Oh, I will run from her. I will run away from her.
Your wife?
Yes. In the marriage.
What if she's a child?
She's my.
Your child.
Wow. Now what I do? Sure. But we look for a way out.
So what will you do?
Actually, I don't know what to do, sir. But for my own opinion, I will just leave her.
Leave your wife, leave your child.
Yeah, but I need the child, but I leave the wife.
So if she's your child, what will you do if it's your child?
If she's my child? Yes. That question big past me. I don't. You know, if it is my child, what I will do is that I don't know what to do. Seriously, funny, a little funny.
Okay, what if it's your wife or your girlfriend?
If my girlfriend, I will leave the game.
I'll run away from the house.
Yes, I will run away from her.
So that is confusing, and well, I don't pray anybody contacts it, not even anybody I know, because it's a deadly disease. Even though it has been prophesied in a book written by somebody in the past, but it's dangerous. I don't pray anybody contact it. I don't even want it to come to Abuja at all. I don't want it. So if it happens, honestly, there's this kind of a connection, love for your loved ones, is always there. No matter what happens, it's just to always look for solution. You understand? But it's contagious. You understand? It's contagious, but you have to at least stay away from the person. You can't, when wants to touch, or there is a connection, body contact and all that, your mind contact it. You need to be very careful as well. So but at least the appropriate medical attention will be put in place. So
if it's your child, what will you do?
Well, of course, you can't run away from your child. Like I said, the connection is always there, the blood, and everything, the relationship is there. You can't run away from such a person, you understand? So because of the love you have for your children, you can't leave any of your children, that is affected, you understand? So the next thing is to seek medical attention, like I said, you understand? Or report the case to the nearest medical centers, for proper medical attention.
What if you discovered it 12 midnight? Now, will you leave the house at that moment? What will you do?
Okay, like as it is, this coronavirus of a thing, people don't really know. It's new now, it's everywhere. But if you say people should tell you the symptoms of coronavirus, most people can't even tell you. So if you're not aware of these symptoms, you might not be able to do anything. So you could see it as normal thing. Maybe it just happened, and you understand. So you can't just say you're not a doctor. You understand? For you to just know this is coronavirus at night, in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, I don't think it happens.
No, they say we should stay far from people who are sick.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. It's not a good idea to stay away from people that are sick. It's not their fault. Nature could bring about that. You have to show them love, make them feel.
Street cred always cracking me up.
And it's actually very interesting what some people have to say. As the truth is, when your family members or your loved ones are sick, I don't think your first instinct will be to leave them, right? In fact, especially if you find out they have coronavirus. I know as much as we know that if you stay around them, you're right, but you will not want to leave them totally.
Okay, so apart from family members, what about when we're talking about your relationship? Maybe a boyfriend, a fiance, or something. What do you really think about if this person contracts the virus?
Like that girl in the video, I think that's the easiest person to leave. Honestly. Especially if you're not married, if it's not your spouse. I feel like that's the easiest person to just be like, okay, just sorry, you have to just, But then if it's a family member, there's no way around it. You must be involved, you know, because fact is your spouse or your boyfriend will also have his own family, you know. So yes, you might also stay there and help, but then I think it's easier to leave somebody that you're not related to than somebody that you're related to.
But on a serious note, I think we need to talk more. We've been talking about it, but we still need to talk more about the awareness, creating awareness of this coronavirus outbreak, and then how to prevent yourself. If you're out there, you have to know that you have to ensure personal hygiene. You have to wash your hands, you have to use hand sanitizers, and if you must sneeze or cough, it has to be in a handkerchief.
It's very important to protect yourself, and we cannot overemphasize the need for us to protect ourselves. So yes, in fact, go online, find out other things you can do, because I'm sure there are other ways. In fact, I heard there's a way you can test yourself when you wake up in the morning. There's a way you can breathe to test yourself. If your lungs and if you're feeling dry, there's what you can do. So yeah, I feel like there's so much. Just try and be as enlightened as
possible,
you can.
right? Well, at this juncture, we'll have to draw the curtains here. And as I always say, we hope to come your way tomorrow, bright and early, on this platform, Television Nigeria, and this particular show, Daybreak Africa. But before we go, I'd love to crave your indulgence to go over to follow us across all of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's Television Nigerian. On Twitter, it's TV Nigerian. On YouTube, it's Television Nigerian. And you'll have to also go over to our website, www.tvn.news. We'll have more for you. This is not over yet.
It's Daybreak Africa, and it's always going to be an amazing show. Do join us tomorrow, bright and early, like Aisha would always say. I am Priscilla Ajishon.
And I'm Aisha Salihu. Have a blessed day ahead.